Back in 1978, I decided that I wanted a new boat. I previously had a Mako, a 20-foot, which I bought in '73. So it was like 5 years old, but I decided it just wasn't enough boat for me anymore, the 20-footer. I wanted to do a little bit more offshore fishing and so forth, so I decided to look at a larger Mako. I like Makos, I thought it was a good product, so in 1979, they changed a structural component of the boat. They made the transom be a drop transom. The new design suited me perfectly, and I decided to buy it, which I did. I did a lot of custom work on the boat. I had a lot of custom teak done on it. I made a little superstructure for it out of stainless steel. This was the first boat, first center console, my boat, that ever had any kind of superstructure. This was before T-tops. So I wanted nothing on the gunnels of the boat, no antennas or any of that to get in the way of 360-degree fishing. So I really custom rigged the boat, and it came out beautiful. And I was very, very happy with the boat, and I used it. I started my fishing business, my charter business in 1980, and that boat was fished very, very hard for 30 years. Well, come 2009, now the boat's 30 years old, and it really had some serious problems. I felt bad. The last 5-6 years prior to that, things were starting to go, serious things. The floor was getting soft. It needed some sort of revitalization. Anyway, I was then considering, what am I going to do to repair this boat? Do I repair it? Do I buy a new boat? Do I just do a partial fix? Do I take care of the deck and maybe change the gas tank and the transom? Those were the major problems I had. And then just put it back together and use it the way it is? Or do I want to get into a more thorough rebuild of the boat? Or go buy a new boat. So I thought about this for a long time. I was really stressed about it. And I realized that I couldn't go with a new boat. I just loved this boat. 30 years, it was like a marriage, all right? And the boat could do anything I wanted it to do. All right, all the kinds of fishing I fished, this boat was perfect, and it fit my budget. I could run this boat and not go broke. So it was the perfect boat for me, and anything else would just be a question mark, you know? So I decided that this is the boat I want to stay with, and it would be worth it to me to put the time and effort and money into this boat to rebuild it totally, bring it right back to brand new condition. In fact, when I finished the job, it was even better than original. I made improvements to the original design. So I have a better boat than I even had in 1978 when it was brand new. So now I finally arrived at my decision. I'm going to totally rebuild this boat. The big question was, where am I going to do this job? Now, my fishing season runs from May to November, which gave me December, January, February, March, April, 5 or 6 months, 5 months approximately, to get the boat in and do everything that had to be done so that I was ready again to fish the next spring. So I started to ask around, going to all my sources, all the people I know, networking, trying to find a facility where I could house the boat with heat so that I could work on it during the winter hours. So I networked and networked, and finally, this person that I know, my buddy George now, he had fished with me a couple of times with a friend of his. They booked charters on my boat, so we were familiar with each other, and he belonged to the same fishing club I did. And one night at a fishing club meeting, I was talking, and again, I'm always putting it out there. I'm looking for a place where I can work on my boat. Do you have any ideas? And George approached me and said, Al, I heard you were looking for a place to work on your boat. He said, I have the perfect place for you. He said, I have a shop, I have extra room. Just turns out probably I won't be getting new machinery, and that's going to take up that space until springtime. So he said, you got a good 5-6 months that you can put it in my shop. It's a fully complete shop. We have air, we got electricity, we got heat, big place. He said, why don't you bring it to my place and work on it there? So it was like, gee, it was a great offer. I thought about it and thought about it. I said, you know what? This is my opportunity. This is the only opportunity I have. George is a great guy. He's got a great shop. So I contacted George again. I said, hey, George, let's do it. Let's get together. Let's make this thing happen. George was very gracious. He said, bring it up there. He said, "No, I'll work with you. I'll work side by side with you. I'll give you a hand." And he said, "I want to see your beautiful boat brought back just the way it was, and I'd be glad to help you out." And that's how the relationship began.
The boat came in, and I think one of the first things we had to do was get the superstructure off of it. I had been involved in a little bit of boat work before, mostly on my own, helped friends, this and that, but we were never afraid to dive into anything. So we had the superstructure off and the console out the first day it was here, and I think that may have, Captain kind of knew what he was in for after that. And he said, okay, well, I guess we're really diving into this thing. And you know, we got in there and we started looking, and Jeff Buda came down. He's got a little bit more woodworking expertise than the rest of us with hand tools. And he looked at it and he says, yeah, we just get the big router and we just rip the whole deck out. Well, okay, you know, that sounds like a good idea. So the look of God came on Al's face at that point, and he said, okay, well, I guess that's what we're gonna do. And we tore into it, and you know, found that it was exactly what he expected underneath the deck. It was full of wet foam and stuff that you couldn't identify and smells that you never smelled before, and it was pretty rancid.
During the entire course of the project, friends really helped out. I mean, we had people who were specialists in certain areas. We had a woodworker, top-notch. We have a top-notch glass guy, fiberglass repair and so forth, a top-notch painter, guys who were good with their hands and doing all kinds of things, whether it be sanding, all of the facets of this boat rebuilding project. And they were all acquaintances, friends who wanted to become a part of the project. They wanted a piece. They wanted a piece of the action. They were happy working there. They wanted to create this new boat out of an old one. And they gave it their best, and their skills were terrific, and that's why it turned out so well.
Al being a you know, ever-present personality in Babylon, I mean, guy's been around a long time. Everybody knows who he is, has seen him on the water. Basically saw the old boat that they've been looking at for 30 years. All of a sudden, wow, you know, did Al get a new boat? What's going on here? And you know, the word started getting out, and you know, it raised a lot of awareness and a lot of attention. And you know, he wound up getting contacted by a few people that he knew, people that fished with him, and said, what a great project. You know, I have a boat that I really care about, and I don't want to buy a new boat. I want to refurbish mine. I want to have my boat. I want to do the same thing that you did. I feel the same way. And again, phone started ringing. We got a job in the following year on a 23, just happens to be just like Al's, and that thing came out, you know, unbelievable. The guy was so happy. You know, it turned into more work. Then we had a few more people call. We started doing transom work on certain boats, bits and pieces, not full restorations, but bits and pieces of things that we had done on Al's boat. We're not going to ever be a production-based shop where we're pumping it out the door, but if you want something different, something special, something you can't buy, you know, off the shelf, we're the guys that can do it for you. You know, we can think a little bit out of the box, and we're lucky we're equipped to do it too. So, you know, the more calls Al got, the more jobs we got. We started to realize this may turn into something, and actually doing something that we like was very appealing to all of us.
A friend approached me and he said, hey Al, I want to do the same thing. I'm going to go out, I'm going to buy a 1979 Mako hull, and I want you to do to it exactly what you did to your boat. So he did. He came to us with this boat. It was not bad condition in 1979. He said, I want you to do it. Do the whole thing. Tanks, wiring, all grip paint, the whole business. And we did it. Turns out, another awesome project. The boat just turned out just spectacular, beautiful looking boat, and he was completely satisfied, and people saw the second project occurring, and then the phone started ringing even more. And it just went on, and now we have another project right here at hand, and we have others lined up to go. And so that's how Babylon Boat Works started.